which is the anime, and the anime I chose is one that I watched when I was 11. When you're at that change of leaving the innocence of being a kid and becoming a teenager, and it really has a lot of meaning to me. I really like it, and it shocked me in many ways. I'll explain why. And it's an anime that was released a lot later on the English speaking countries. So if you're listening to me, is if you're watching me from the US or UK, you'll relate to what I'm gonna say next. But the anime is Dragon Ball GT, the last saga of Dragon Ball series, and my favorite, because the Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z series were fun. I liked them. The action was cool. The everything about it was cool, except that I am a very emotional guy and I need to find like something to search that's more than just we are fighting to save the world, and in GT I found that they sort of broke that pattern they had when during the Dragon Ball Z series, which was like I'm gonna kill you, and that's all it was about, and you just enjoyed the fight, but you didn't get much more. But I think GT they made the characters more emotional, more real, and you see Goku's side as a family, Goku's family, the whole development of this the situations that happen inside it, and you see more city environment. You get more normal answers. You don't get this psychotic version of Goku where he goes mad, and if he does, it's because a loved one was hurt, which also happened in Dragon Ball Z. But I think it's better done here. And well, this series didn't get much of a good. It didn't get very well. Didn't do very well in the English speaking countries because they did an awful job with it. I mean, because as we most of us know, it first was released in 1996 in Japan, then it was released on Spain, which did the first Spanish dub version, and from there they just distributed all over the Latin countries. And I remember that in 1998, almost every video rental that you want, because Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z were given to us by television. Channel 2 gave it on very early morning, and then on the evenings. And did they? I don't think they ever finished it. I think they stayed on the Buu saga, the start of the Buu saga or something, or the half of the Cell saga. I don't remember. Um, but the GT saga was never published on TV because it was a Spain version. So it was on all video rentals. Every video rental you went, the new release was all full of 21 albums of 21 volumes of Dragon Ball GT. And I rented it so many times because I loved it. And especially I think what I loved the most was the music because all the songs are epic, especially the intro, obviously. Dan Dan, I don't Kokoro, I don't remember the rest, but I really really love the rhythm. The lyrics are very good. They expressed much a lot of what there is on the series, and well, I think the reason it wasn't very famous in English speaking countries was because they did Funimation did this version where all that great music was replaced by some cheap hip hop music. And I'm not saying hip hop is cheap because I love every kind of music and hip hop is awesome. But when it's well done, I mean, if they would have taken the original lyrics of the Japanese songs and made them into hip hop, I would have liked it. But they just did this stupid songs where they just went like Dragon Ball GT and all that kind of shit, and really sucked. But now that they have the original the original audio in Japanese, because also the dub version cut out many of the lines that express the messages within it. For example, here in the first season, because it's not actually a season, it's just a whole series indirect, but I guess it just didn't want to sell it in one piece. But here in the first season, where Goku is going from planet to planet, each planet represents a little problem that society has, or not problem, just a tiny issue that could become a big issue, obviously. Like, for example, Planet Omega criticized how government has made many countries run only around capitalism, and where everybody just thinks of a way of making money, and that's what everything is about. And there's this other planet, which I don't remember the name of it, but the planet where they go, and they do this cult for a cat thing. I think it's a very original way to criticize religious fanaticism, because religion and spiritual guidance is very important to most people, but obsessing over something is never good, and they expose that to here. The problem is that since it's a Dragon Ball series, obviously not everybody gets it seriously, and they just look for action and blood, and probably that's why it wasn't very famous, because they just emphasized on other things than on actually getting a lot of action in it. And it's that's pretty much all I've got to say for it. And well, that ends the things I'm gonna discuss for today. I'm planning on doing a second section where I sing, or where I show you some of my songs I've written and composed, or the books, some of a preview of my books or of my poems. So it's coming up, but I'll leave it here for today because I have a lot to do. I love to read for college. I also have to finish reading the other book so that tomorrow I can talk to you about another book and another movie and all that. So while I get ready, I hope that you actually enjoyed this. Me just talking and talking here without stopping. I probably have you halfway through a headache. But I really hope I'm enjoyable, and the constant didn't get you bored, or oh, this guy doesn't know, or make you think this guy doesn't know what he's doing, because it's the truth is that I don't do a script for this. I don't have the time to do a script. But if someday I do, I do have the time. I might. But I'm most of the time pretty busy, especially with everything, with college, with doing all these things, because it's like a necessity for me to write for at least for an hour, or see a movie or something, because I'm currently not studying the career I want, and I want to be related to in some way to all these things, to keep going and learning more and more about it every day. And well, thank you for watching, and here I leave you the questions of the day. First is the book question. The book question is there any song? Wait, let me look at you for the book. If you actually didn't see the first part, you're not gonna know what I'm talking about. But Impossible, which is inspired by the Scarborough Fair song. Is there any song that inspires you some kind of ideas? I'm not saying that inspires you to write, but that gives you some kind of idea of a storyline, or that brings back some memory. If there any song that has that special spell to it, just as Scarborough Fair has for Nancy. Okay, then the music song is um, out. I'm gonna tell you to listen to this and tell me which song relates to your relationship, or what do you think it's sort of, if none of them really relate to your relationship, which one do you like more? And as the movie goes, do you like how they're making Harry Potter movies? Is there any other fantasy book that takes you to a special place or something? Are you a Harry Potter fan or a Twilight fan? Any of those questions. Um, okay, next up, the game. The question for the game is there anything that makes you feel like a hero, or what path do you feel you should follow to become a hero? What is that thing that makes you feel like a hero? And lastly, for the anime question, do you